Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Reputation. Years ago I was a union delegate at a hospital gearing up for a big expansion. New services, more beds, an extra operating theater, the whole works. And of course, right before opening, there was the classic unions versus management battle over staffing. This time we came ready. We had data, arguments, receipts, you name it. Management actually took it pretty well, agreeing to most of what we asked for, until we got to Department ABC. The head of ABC pipes up. We don't need any extra staff, except for nurses. I blink. More beds, more space, more chaos. And you think you don't need more cleaners, wardsmen, admin staff? I argue, hard. He doubles down, says, and I quote, "I stake my reputation on it." Oh, beautiful. Let's make sure that's recorded in the minutes I say. Smiling like a cat about to knock a race off a table. We set a meeting for 4 weeks after the expansion. We let him have his way, because we knew exactly how this was going to end. His department turned into an absolute circus. Not catastrophic, just endless small problems. Delays, complaints, sloppy admin. Exactly the kind of mess you get when you are badly understaffed. At the next big union meeting, same full house. HR, department heads, union reps. I calmly pull out the minutes from our previous meeting. I read every word, especially the part where he staked his reputation on not needing more staff. Then I laid out every issue Department ABC had since opening, one by one. Then I turned to the head of ABC and said, "Care to justify all of this?" Silence. I pressed further. "You staked your reputation. What does that mean now?" Nothing. He couldn't say a word. So I turned to the CEO. "You were in that meeting too. The buck stops with you." He nodded, grim-faced. Said he'd urgently review the situation. And just to make it official, we placed the hospital into a formal industrial dispute right then and there, over the staffing disaster in Department ABC. The next day, an email went out to the whole hospital. After a brief conversation with the CEO, the head of Department ABC had chosen to seek different career opportunities. His reputation left the building before he did. The next story is called Only Work on This. I used to work at a contract manufacturing company that assembled and tested electronic PCBs for other businesses. They were obsessed with tracking time and quantities down to the second, because that's how they billed for work or stayed under budget. We had to clock in and out of different jobs every time we finished a step or switched products. Fun. One day I'm testing a board we'll call XYZ. Each one takes about a minute to function test. I'd get a tray of 5 boards about every 15 minutes. So basically I'd test for 5 minutes and then have 10 minutes of thumb twiddling. Naturally, during that downtime, I'd grab some ABC boards, which we had mountains of, and test those to stay productive. Well, in strolls my boss. "Why are you working on those boards? We need the XYZ boards shipped this week. Forget the ABC ones." Like I was supposed to psychically know the XYZ boards were suddenly on fire. I'm testing the XYZ boards faster than they are handling them to me. I don't care, just get these boards done. Focus only on XYZ, nothing else. So for the rest of the day, test for 5 minutes. Wait for 10 minutes. Over and over. For 8 glorious hours. End of the day rolls around. How many XYZ boards did you get done today? About 160? How long did that take you? Oh, I knew exactly where this was going. You mean actual work time? Yes. Little over 2.5 hours. What did you do the rest of the day? Waited. You could see that this guy got really angry. So I added, "Remember when I said I was testing the boards faster than they were giving them to me? And you told me to only work on XYZ and nothing else? That's why." Cue furious sputtering noises. The third story is called 15 Minutes. I used to work as a software engineer for a company. that, out of nowhere, decided to implement electronic time tracking. Before that, it was simple. If I worked a couple extra hours one day, I'd just come in a couple hours later the next. Good faith, mutual trust, no problems. Enter the new system. I now had to clock in at 8 AM sharp, or else the system would mark me late and erase the first hour entirely, and clock out at 5 PM with a 1 hour lunch break. Because of how work laws in Brazil operate, if a company officially tracks your time, they must pay you overtime for anything over 40 hours per week. Sometimes I'd get in a little early, like 7:50 AM, and maybe leave at 5:10 PM. At the end of the first month, 0 extra hours logged. 0. Under the old system I wouldn't have cared, but they were the ones who decided to make it official. So I did some digging into how the tracking software worked. Turns out any time segment less than 15 minutes was completely ignored. From that day on, I arrived 16 minutes early, came back from lunch 16 minutes early, left 16 minutes late, every single day. At the end of the second month, management dragged me into a meeting. Why do you have 3 times more extra hours than everyone else? Check your system. I don't track my hours anymore. You do. Cue the awkward silence. To their credit, they actually paid every cent they owed me. Probably because they knew I could have easily sued and wiped the floor with them. Even better, they didn't fix the system. At all. I milked that sweet overtime for 3 more months before leaving for a remote job. No regrets. The next story is called No Phones. I'm a forklift driver in a factory that churns out chemical products for building and construction. Adhesives, sealants, cement, you name it. My job is to keep production moving by bringing whatever the workers need, whenever they need it. With about 20 people on my shift in a department that's always buzzing, I'm basically zipping back and forth between the warehouse, the production lines, and every dusty corner of the place all day long. At the time, management suddenly got obsessed with our phone usage. Sure, some folks were glued to their screens, no denying it. I only pulled mine out when things were slow, or while I was waiting on something, never while driving. Plus, the bosses themselves needed me to have my phone handy, so they could reach me when I was off somewhere fetching supplies. But nope, new decree, no phones. And they weren't kidding. One poor guy even caught a formal complaint for checking his phone. 3 complaints in a year? Goodbye job. So I simply turned off my phone at the start of the shift. Left it cold and silent until my official break time. If they wanted to talk to me, good luck finding me across 1.4 million square feet of factory space. Sometimes it took me 10 minutes just to go from point A to point B, and another 10 back. Meanwhile, I missed about 30 calls a day, all ringing into the void. Management was losing their minds, but the best part was that they couldn't do a thing about it. After all, they made the rule. The last story is called One Bad Day. I work at a company handling mid to high level complaints. Stuff that goes to managers, PR, even legal sometimes. The daily target was 40 cases handled per day. Some of my teammates struggle with that. I usually crushed 50 to 55 cases every day for 2 years straight. No bonus, no recognition. I just did it out of a little old-fashioned loyalty. Now a case could be a quick 5-minute fix, or a brutal 2-hour Zoom call with our New York lawyers. Total gamble. But whatever it was, I always got it done. Then one day I was feeling sick and got stuck with a batch of nightmare cases. By the end of the day, 39 cases. 1 short. No big deal, right? My weekly average was still way over target. Wrong. Come Monday I get called into an emergency one-on-one. They tell me I have to attend a 3-day workshop on meeting daily requirements because I underperformed. I was stunned. I asked if they even looked at weekly, monthly, yearly stats. Nope. Daily is all that matters. Standard practice. Nothing we can do. So for 3 miserable days after work, I had to drive to some HR-led seminar, where people who've never handled a complaint in their lives told me how to reach my goals. Waste of time, waste of life. I was furious. From that moment on, I did exactly 40 cases a day. Not 41, not 50. When I hit 40, I closed my queue. and spent the rest of my shift doing absolutely nothing. Multiple one-on-ones later, my boss keeps asking, "Is something wrong?" I just smile and say, "No, am I underperforming?" Of course they say, "No, you are within target," and I shut the conversation down. Meanwhile, they are scrambling to cover the workload I used to clear effortlessly. Before Easter, they even posted an internal ad to promote 2 more managers. Guess they need extra hands to do what I used to handle on my own. For free. All because they decided to punish their best worker over one bad day. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.